Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans, and soon they will be available to everyone.
This vaccine
One second, guys. Hey. Check 1, 2.
Hey, Tony, you see that background okay?
Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans, and soon they will be available to everyone.
This vaccine means hope. It will protect you and those you love from this dangerous and deadly disease.
I want to go back to work and I want to be able to move around.
To visit with Michelle's mom, to hug her and see her on her birthday.
You know, I'm really looking forward to is going to opening day in Texas Ranger Stadium with a full stadium.
We've lost enough people and we've suffered enough damage.
In order to get rid of this pandemic, it's important for our fellow citizens to get vaccinated.
I'm getting vaccinated because we want this pandemic to end as soon as possible.
So we urge you to get vaccinated when it's available to you.
So roll up your sleeve and do your part.
This is our shot.
Now it's up to you.
Good morning, brothers. Can you all hear me? I certainly can't hear myself. Good morning, brothers. All right, now everyone should be able to hear me. Good morning and welcome to the 75th South Central Province Council held virtually. We appreciate all the brothers that have registered, members of the South Central Province, voting delegates, non-voting delegates who will be joining us live via secure YouTube. All of our visiting brothers from outside of the South Central Province, we really appreciate your attendance on this morning as we conduct our 75th South Central Province Council. It is such a great occasion when Kappa Alpha Psi can join together in a bond of fellowship, in a bond of brotherhood to advance the cause of achievement in every field of human endeavor. Such is the occasion and such is the time as we join together annually for our South Central Province Council to conduct the business of the South Central Province. No pandemic can stop us. Nothing can stop Kappa Alpha Psi from moving forward, and such as that we have organized, we have planned, and we are prepared to continue your South Central Province Council experience. We thank you, brothers, so much for your attendance. What we'll do now before we'll begin, we will get ready for establishment of protocol. And so we will call up Brother LeVar Brown to give the establishment of protocol. Good morning, my dear brothers. The establishment of protocol. To our revered founders. To the 34th Grand Pole Mark, Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire. To the Grand Board of Directors. To the Province Pole Marks. To the Executive Director and IHQ staff. To the past Province Pole Marks. 18th Province Pole Mark and Elder Watson Diggs awardee, Judge Mark Scott. 19th Province Pole Mark and Elder Watson Diggs awardee, Robert Scales Jr. 20th Province Pole Mark, John Russell. 21st Province Pole Mark, Prentice Jerry Siegel. 22nd Province Pole Mark and Elder Watson Diggs awardee, Willie Brooks Jr. 23rd Province Pole Mark, Byron White. To the Grand Chapter awardees, to the Grand Chapter Committee and Commission Chairman, Grand Pole Mark operating staff, province officers and board of directors, chapter officers, visiting members, and brothers all. Protocol has now been established and no subsequent speaker shall need to reestablish protocol during this special virtual 75th Province Council. Brothers, we will now transition over to roll call. As we prepare, we're going to ask that you respond by simply raising your hand using that feature. So as I call your chapter name, please respond. Kappa chapter. Alpha Delta. Alpha Omicron. Alpha Theta. Alpha Upsilon. Beta Mu. Beta Lambda. Epsilon Rho. Eta Alpha. Eta Beta. Eta Gamma. Kappa Beta. Lambda Iota. Lambda Pi. Mu Rho. Nu Rho. Omicron Epsilon. Pi Pi. Rho Rho. Rho Sigma. Theta Beta. Xi Nu. Zeta Kappa. Zeta Lambda. And Zeta Omicron. Thank you, brothers. Alumni chapters. Bowling Green alumni. Brentwood alumni. Chattanooga alumni. Clarksdale alumni. Corinth alumni. Fort Knox alumni. Frankfurt alumni. Germantown alumni. Hendersonville alumni. Hopkinsville, Fort Campbell alumni. Jackson alumni. Knoxville alumni. Lexington alumni. Louisville alumni. Memphis alumni. Murfreesboro alumni. Nashville alumni. Newport Covington alumni. Oxford alumni. Paducah alumni. And South Haven alumni. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, Brother Keeper of Records, Brother LeVar Brown. We will now have our Senior Province Vice Poll Mark, Brother Don Woolrich, come forth for the adoption and reading of the rules.
Brothers all, these are the rules for this virtual council meeting. Rule number 1, the province pollmark shall be empowered to alter the schedule of the 75th Province Council. However, the schedule for balloting can only be changed by a majority vote of the province council delegates who are present and voting. Rule number 2, a speaker must be virtually recognized by the presiding chair before he addresses the council. The speaker must state his name and give his chapter affiliation each time the presiding officer virtually recognizes him. Rule number 3, the presiding officer shall be empowered to limit the time allocated to speak on any specific item under discussion. The presiding officer cannot place a limit that is less than 2 minutes, and he must announce the time limit prior to the start of the debate on a particular subject. Rule number 4, voting delegates of the 75th Province Council must be virtually present to vote. Only a voting delegate can initiate or second a motion. Rule number 5, there shall be no proxy voting. Pursuant to Rule 4, voting delegates of the 75th Province Council must be virtually present to vote. Rule number 6, the 2 candidates receiving the highest number of votes will be retained for a second ballot when those conditions exist. A, 3 or more candidates are vying for the same office or position. And B, only 1 candidate can be elected. And C, no candidate receives a majority vote on the initial ballot. When the results are tabulated, those candidates who do not receive a sufficient number of votes to place them in the first or second position will be dropped from the balloting. Rule number 7, the code of ethics for the election of province officers shall be strictly observed. The province keeper of records shall distribute a copy of this document to each chapter prior to the council. Rule number 8, any brother who desires to be a candidate for a province office or position must file his consent and intention for nomination with the chairman of the Committee on Nominations no later than March 31, 2021. Rule number 9, all candidates vying for an elective office or position at the province level must submit their credentials to the chairman of the Committee of Nominations before their eligibility can be certified and their name properly placed on the ballot. This requirement is also applicable to all candidates who are nominated from the floor. And rule number 10, presiding officers of any province council session will always recognize fraternity dignitaries.
Brothers, you have heard the rules. I will now entertain a motion to adopt the rules of the 75th South Central Province Council. If you would like to motion, please raise your hand. It is moved by Brother Alexis Lewis of Memphis Alumni. Is there a second? Second by Brother T. Ray Greer of Jackson Alumni. Call for the question. Any unreadiness? There being none, you will now receive a poll to vote for the adoption of the rules. Voting will take place for 60 seconds. I believe we have all of our votes in. We can now release the results. Adoption of the rules are adopted. The rules are adopted. We will now have the adoption of the agenda. Brothers, you had the agenda sent to you over in the coming weeks to our South Central Province Council. We will go over the first business session first. I do want to make a couple of adjustments. Today, at the end of the added to the Province Council reports will be the time and place committee. We will have added. I will also have an update in regards to the audit. Brother Simons won't present today, but I will have an update to give you. Going on to the second business session, We're going to add chapter advisors to province committee reports in the second business session. And we're going to move time and place to the first business session. That is the agenda, brothers. I will now open up the floor for a motion to adopt the agenda. You can do so by raising your hand. So moved by Brother Al Studstill. Is there a second? Second by Brother Noah Dandridge. Call for the question. Any unreadiness? There being none, you will now receive a poll to adopt the agenda. Voting will be open for 30 seconds. We can now release the results. The agenda is adopted. We will now come forth with province greetings from our senior province vice polemarch, Brother Don Woolridge, and that will be followed by greetings from our grand polemarch, the 34th grand polemarch, Brother Reuben A. Shelton, Esquire. Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire.
On behalf of our junior province vice polemarch, Jeremiah S. Elston, who is traveling and en route to this province council, it gives me great pleasure to bring greetings to all in attendance. Brothers all, in this world with people thirsting for justice and peace, and with millions of people yearning for something different than the brokenness and suffering that surrounds them, the words of the book of Psalms 1, verse 3 have a fresh urgency. It is good to know that in these times, Kappa Alpha Psi and its South Central province echoes the psalmist who understands the will of God, that we can dare to be different and be like the tree planted by streams of water, bringing life where death reigns and justice, renewal, and hope during a time of struggle. Be it virtual or in person, this weekend, the Newts have gathered to conduct the business of Kappa, to prepare ourselves to shed light on dark places. I take this opportunity to say thank you to the host chapters, Louisville alumni, and Alpha Omicron, as well as all members of the planning team for their efforts this weekend. It is our hope and desire that all in virtual attendance find something rewarding from this experience and that our efforts were not in vain. May God bless you all, and may he forever bless Kappa Alpha Psi.
Thank you, Brother Woolridge. And Brothers Hall, I hope you are enjoying the beginning of our business session. We will now bring to the floor our grand polemarch. We are excited. I would like to see him on the screen if possible. I think you need to promote him to, there we go. Brother Grand Polemarch, you have the floor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you so very, very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Very good. It's so good to be with you, brothers, again. And that's why I always have to acknowledge the amazing nature of God, because he allows us to do these things, even in the midst of a pandemic. So Brother Leonard Clemens, what a wonderful job you're doing. So I applaud you, any distinguished guests who are on the call, all province officers, board members, and all the brothers who are attending. Man, what an outstanding job you brothers are doing. We were here virtually last year, and here we are again. And Brother Clemens, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that the South Central Province was the first one out of the gate last year.
You said it, not me.
I do believe you were, and I congratulated you then for that accomplishment, and I'm congratulating you again. So I'll just say again that I wish I could be there personally with you, brothers, but I'm absolutely sure that time is going to come again soon. I always like to recognize, brothers in your province that I have great relationships with, friendships, brothers that have helped me along the way, brothers that have served the fraternity for many, many years, and some are continuing to serve the 34th administration. I hesitate to start naming names, but I got to name a few, like Brother Andre Douglas and Willie Brooks, and my good friends John Russell, Byron White, General Chappie James. So what a legendary brother he was, coming out of your province. Samuel Massey, Maceo, O.C. Pleasant, Brother Bob Scales, Leonard Morton, Christopher Smith, Jeremy Williams, going on and on, with Brother Don Woolridge, who continues to help us in so many different ways, Brother Jerry Siegel, Brother Chris Cross, and many others. I wish I had the time to name them here, but I just don't, because I know you brothers have a lot of things to do. A lot of influential nukes in the South Central Province. And so again, I want to thank all of the frontline workers. I got to do that. Got to take time to do that, because you're still putting your lives in danger. And
I think you may have froze on us.
there
we go.
Military. You're like, the
Coming back,
military is
baby.
just, the enemy is just a little bit different. So just a couple of things, brothers, and then I'm get out your way. The storm is still here, but we're in a much better position than we were last year, the last time we met, and we're gradually working back to the way we used to do things. And then, politically, you guys have put us in a good place. We got people that are willing to help us, but I got to tell you, we got to keep up the fight. We can't stop now. We won the battle, but the war rages on. So continue to do what you do, brothers. Continue to serve the community. Continue to be active in your communities to make sure that we have people in positions of power who are willing to help us, achieve all the things that we want to achieve. Secondly, brothers, membership intake. You're going to soon hear about our insurance coverage if you haven't already. The new premium is a little bit north of $1.3 million. Now we've actually paid that premium in full. We were blessed to be in a position where we could make that payment in full and not have to do it over time, because time payments cost us money. But that payment is in the box and we're ready to go. But we are going to look for ways to more equitably allocate those premium costs amongst chapters. So as we approach the 2021 fall semester, we do plan to initiate new members, brothers. But boy, we really got to continue to be vigilant. We're already hearing things about allegations of hazing, even though we've had a moratorium for the last couple of semesters. And so I'm asking chapters and advisors, to please monitor your undergraduate chapters more now than ever, because this is a particularly dangerous time. You guys had a video at the very beginning talking about COVID-19. I know brothers are still a little leery about what we're going to do, and whether or not you're going to get the vaccine. Brothers, please get that vaccine. We really need to get this thing under control, and one of the best ways to do it is to continue your social distancing, wear your mask, and get the vaccine. Okay, brothers, and then we announced the conduct. We announced the 85th Grand Chapter meeting virtually. We've gone back and forth with this thing. We're going to do it. We wanted to know how virtual was it going to be. Pardon me. And we continue. Next week, you will hear our plans for conducting the virtual meeting in a limited hybrid manner. We will have a skeleton crew in Philadelphia to take care of all the technical aspects of the Grand Chapter meeting. But because we really can't get a grip on what this pandemic is doing, and many brothers that we would have liked to come to Philadelphia are telling me that they just don't want to come. I said, Brother Grandpa, I'm like, well, come if you ask, but we really don't want to come. So we're going to limit it to a skeleton crew to make sure that we can put on the production in a quality manner. But that's going to be just about it, brothers, because I don't want to risk your safety, don't want to risk your lives, and I certainly don't want you to take whatever you get in Philadelphia back to your hometowns and to your relatives. But you'll hear more about that in a video that I'm going to release next week, and you'll also get some reports from from IHQ about that. So brothers, I really, you got a grand chapter meeting, a grand chapter report coming up, and I'm not going to repeat everything that you're going to hear there, but I do want to say again that, you brothers doing a wonderful job. Thank you so very much for all that you do. We couldn't keep the ship afloat without you at all. So again, thank you so very much. And before I go, I always, Brother Clemens and I, we have a special relationship, and he knows that. We don't always disagree, but when we do disagree, we do it respectfully, and we always come to consensus. And he's just done a wonderful job in the South Central Province. And so today, I'm so happy and honored to reappoint him for another term as Province Poll Mark. Thank you, Noob, for all you've done, and I'm very happy that you've agreed to continue to stay with us and serve. So, brothers, I'm going to call that a wrap right now. We will keep you updated and informed through, again, my videos and the fraternity social media platforms. But I just hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful virtual Province Council. Outstanding brothers in the province, and you do a good job. So have another wonderful virtual Province Council, brothers, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Grand Poll Mark. We really appreciate your work, your leadership, your steady hand through COVID-19 and pandemic, and the operation of our fraternity. I am so appreciative of your leadership, of your transparency, of your integrity, and your character. If there was a picture next to character in the dictionary, I'm sure it would have our Grand Poll Mark next to it. So thank you, Brother Grand Poll Mark. We really, really appreciate you, and thank you for the reappointment. I will continue to serve at your pleasure, and thank you, Brother Grand Poll Mark. Thank you much,
Brother Poll Mark. Sure. Brothers, all please stand and recognize our Province Poll Mark.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Brothers, we will now, you received the Province Council minutes. I would like to see the participants' hands. Those minutes were sent out previously. And if there aren't any edits or recommended changes to special Province Council minutes, then I will open the floor up for a motion to receive the minutes of the special Province Council held in August of 2020. Moved by Brother Marshall Vaughn of South Haven alumni, second by Brother Wayne Carlton of Knoxville alumni. Call for the question. Any unreadiness? You will now receive a poll to receive the minutes. .30 seconds are up. We can release the results. Minutes are received. 2 abstentions. Thank you, brothers. All right, brothers, we will now come and prepare for the Exchequer report. As that's being pulled up, let us now welcome our Province Keeper of Exchequer. I will tell you this, that Brother Kenneth McMichael has been doing an outstanding job, and I cannot recognize that without also recognizing the transition between Brother Will Dillard and Brother Kenneth McMichael was absolutely seamless and flawless. And I think it had a lot to do with their working relationship over the past 4 years, as Brother McMichael served as our budget and finance chairman, who did an outstanding job there. So let us receive our Keeper of Exchequer. Let's not kick the tires too hard on him. He's doing a good job, but let's receive our Keeper of Exchequer, Brother McMichael.
Thank you, brother. Greetings, brothers. Protocol being established. Thank you, Brother Clements, Brother Woolwich, and Brother Brown. And what I must say, to God be the glory for this day. For this day, yesterday and forevermore. What we've come through since this COVID pandemic has been a lot. And for me to be up here in front of you right now, brother, standing before you to present the financial performance of our South Central Province is just truly a pleasure and an honor for me. First page, brother Solomon. Thank you, sir. The financial transactions were reported that you'll see on the accompanying financial slides were reported on a cash basis via profit and loss income statement for current period, October 1, 2020 through April 1st, 2021, which is 6 months. Income and expense transactions was reconciled on a monthly basis. And I mentioned a monthly basis, providing timely reconciliation and better clarity. Financially, we're in a very good position with $225,000 in total net income from 3 different sources of income. Bank accounts, $181,603, online PayPal account, $882, and our investment accounts, $42,801, all of which will be explained on later slides. We also have sound reconciliation processes in place since 2016. And I'm not saying that we never did have them before. However, since I came as the chairman of Budget and the Finance Committee, appointed by Brother Clements, I had the privilege and honor to work with Brother Dillard and the Internal Audit Committee, Brother Salmons, on how we can reconcile and collaborate together. So firsthand, I know that we do have an oversight committee that we have in place, which provides complete transparency and accountability. COVID-19 assault on our humanity and its overwhelming negative impact on the economy has been very significant. As you can imagine, our income and expenses were lower within a year, primarily due to slower physical business activity. Charts on the accompanying next pages represent visual images of our 6-month period, fiscal period, outlining income, expenses, and net income categories. Next slide, brother. Next slide, Brother Solomon. Thank you, sir. Our operating account, we have $77,684. That money right there is from our carry forward balance from last year and our income, our expenses from this year. That gives us $77,684. $91,919 in savings, life membership, $12,000, online PayPal account, $882. Our investment accounts total, our Lord Abbott mutual fund account, $30,000, corporate bonds, Verizon, $12,000, cash money market, $444. Total $42,801. Our total into our total bank accounts are $225,000, $286. And as we go on the coming slides, I'll represent more and identify those categories as we go further. Next slide, brother. What I have right here for you is just our total income. And what I chose to do for you today is to bring all of our accounts into our actual performance. Now, really, the actual performance is our operating activity from fiscal year end to the current period now. What I do include in here is the savings carry over balance, life membership balance, and our PayPal account and our investment accounts. So as you can see, in our total memberships, we received $21,710 in membership dues this year. That's pretty much our activity for our income. The carry forward balances, as you can see, is the $81,270 carry forward, $91,000 savings, life membership 12, PayPal account, investment account. And what I'm doing for you brothers here, I'm making memo notes to categories that I think that you should be able to see some kind of identification for. So what's been earmarked for 2022 Province Council that Brother Clemens and Brother Dillard has earmarked last year is $91,919. So one into Chattanooga for 2022, we'll have this money earmarked for that. So the total income we have right now today for our 6-month period is $250,582. Next slide, Brother Solomon. Operating expenses. So as you well know, brothers, we don't have much expenses to report at this time. Our expenses, what I wanted to show you is that in our total administrative was $6,000. And what you see there, the increase there, significant increase was for my equipment, from my initial appointment to the position, and our social media platforms, which as you well know, we've been doing a lot of Zoom call meetings as of today, and a lot of the platforms that we have through Brother Javar Lindsay. In our grand chapter category, we had $1,500 in our ad booklet that we sent to Phoenix for Conclave. And then for our insurance premiums that we paid for our insurance in Orion Insurance, which is our fiduciary bond through Brother Jimmy Dukes. That's what that was paid for. And the significant thing that we should show is that one final payment to the Smithsonian that we sent to the grand chapter for $10,000. So the total grand chapter for we have right now expenses is $14,204. Next slide, Brother Solomon. As you can see, no meals, travel, entertainment, insignificant things for the provincial operational budget. For miscellaneous disbursements, I wanted to identify that on the $946 that was spent, that was my initial investment into realigning our federal and our state nonprofit tax exempt status. So what I did was I reconciled that together, which is very good on our behalf. And the only thing that was significant at that point was the Louisville alumni. We dispersed. So as you well know, we had to move our meetings to this year, but Louisville had some expenses that they incurred. So what we did was we agreed to give a third of their expenses to Louisville alumni chapter to reimburse them to help them support their expenses. So that's what we did. So it was like $3,400 within that budget. So our total expenses was $25,296. So the end result to match up with our operating overview for our financial performance is $225,286. Next slide, Brother Solomon. Thank you. What I chose to do for you this time, brothers, also too, is to give you our investment portfolio overview. My investment portfolio started in November '99 with just $5,000. A lot of you may not know this. I didn't know it. Over time, we invested slight increase of additional capital, primarily through our returns. Primarily, though, our returns have been through performance of the markets themselves, providing significant returns on our investment. Since 2016, our total investment portfolio account increased by $11,000 or 36%. More specifically, within the last 2 years, mutual fund account Lord Abbott increased 26%. And our corporate bond, Verizon communications account increased by 36.4%. The stock market has been exceptionally volatile since the coming of COVID-19 pandemic. In March 2020, the stock market saw one of the most dramatic crashes in history. In barely 4 trading days, the Dow plunged 6,400 points, approximately 26%, resulting in the worst monthly decline since 2008. However, our investment portfolio has recovered from all losses. Keep in mind, the S&P and the NASDAQ were negatively impacted as well, but at different proportions. So as you see, I chose to represent a 5-year period. As you well know, coming from the Budget and Finance Committee, I'm always wanting to show you a trend level, where we were before, what we have, and what we got trying to go forward. So what I did was I gave you a 5-year snapshot. So in 16, we were at $32,000, brothers. Now at the end of 2020, December, we're at $43,000. More specifically, within that two-year period, that's what I gave you before. Our mutual funds account was increased by 26%, and our corporate bond fund was increased by 36%. Next slide, Brother Solomon. Thank you, sir. So that's the end of my report for our financial conditions, which I feel is very solid. With our oversight that we have between the Budget and Finance Committee, the Chief of Exchequer, and our Internal Audit Committee, I think we have sound practices in place. So right now, what I would like to do as being your Keeper of Exchequer is to recommend these items for approval and to let you know what I'm about to do going forward. So my recommendation for approval is to transfer our life membership account of $12,000 that we have sitting there. And as you can see, brothers, we've had that money sitting there since 2017. So right now that cash is sitting in there, not generating any interest margins. So for me, as your Keeper of Exchequer, I would like to move that money from the life membership account to our corporate bond account, which is through Edward Jones, Sean Johnson. Because as I mentioned, that corporate bond account has generated about 36% return in the last 2 years. That's what I would like to do, brothers. And any future life membership funds that we get, then we transfer that money over to that corporate bond account. And then as we go further, we can decide what we want to do with that money down the road. Second, transfer remaining bank account balances from Bank of America to Regions Bank. I want to do this, and I talked to Brother Clemens about this because that gives us our ability for enhanced corporate donations from other donors. Now, since we have our state and federal operations aligned, then we have opportunities to go to. Then we have operations to go to being able to transfer our money to another bank account. And last but not least, I just feel this is very important as you keep our exchequer, brothers, is to provide you quarterly financial reporting via our South Central Province website. Target date is 9/2021. I think it's important and very imperative that we don't give you financial performance of our operations once a year. I would like to give it to you in quarterly pieces so that way you can always keep up to date on where we are. And if we can do that, I think that'd be very awesome, because not only do I feel this is important because this is your money, not my money. This is all of our money. So I would like to give you more financial updates as they go along. Other than that, brothers, that's my overall presentation for the Keeper of Exchequer. And if there's any brothers out there as your Keeper of Exchequer, please call me directly, brothers. I'm here for you. I would like to keep any communications for you. This is my contact information. Call me if you need me, and I'll be happy to help you in any way I can. And that's my presentation for the Keeper of Exchequer. Are there any questions that I might have from the floor, to entertain from the floor, that I can answer right now for you today, brothers? Have questions? Okay.
Yeah, can you scoot that over on the screen some so we can see, because we're seeing the edge. Thank you. We do have a brother with a question, Brother Crawley. We will recognize him. We will give you the opportunity to speak. Brother Crawley.
Hey, good brothers, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Rayshawn Crawley, Louisville Alumni Chapter. Brother Keeper of Exchequer, the third point you made about publishing this on the website, will this be password protected or public to anyone that was to go to the website?
Absolutely, that's a great question, brother. Yes, we will be password protected, and it will be working through the logistics. It's going to be tied to the membership of an individual brother, so that way you have to be financial to be able to tie into this, to go see the actual financial condition of the province. Yes, sir. Is there anything else I can help you with on that one, brother?
No, good brother, thank you.
You're very welcome, sir. Is there anything else? Any other questions, brothers? I'll be glad to entertain those, and if I can't answer that question, I'll be happy to get that information for you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you, Brother Michael. Outstanding presentation. Brothers, you have heard the recommendations of our Province Keeper of Exchequer. Let's bring that back up because we'll need to record a vote. You've heard the recommendations of our Province Keeper of Exchequer. I'm going to open up the floor for a motion to receive the Exchequer report with the recommendations pending audit. I see a motion by Brother Elgin Moody of Germantown Alumni. Is there a second? Brother S.G. Carthel of Paducah Alumni provides a second. Call for the question. Any unreadiness? There being none, you will now receive a poll to receive the Exchequer report, and voting will commence for 30 seconds. We can now release the results of the vote. and it is received unanimously. Exchequer report is received. Good job, Brother Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We will now go into our province committee reports. The first of those reports will be Brother Sam Bell. Let's allow him to speak, and then we will pull up his presentation. Brother Bell, let us know when you're speaking so we can ensure that we can hear you.
Good morning, brothers. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you turn your volume up just a little?
Good morning, brothers. Can you hear me better now?
Absolutely. We're going to pull up your presentation now, and the floor is yours, brother.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Our brothers, will start off with the current members appointed to the Budget and Finance Committee. This will be our Budget and Finance Committee going forward. There are 3 legacy members on the Budget and Finance Committee. That is myself, the current Keeper of Exchequer and past chair, Brother Kenneth McMichaels, and Brother John Ford. The rest of the committee members were recently appointed and will be, like I said, we'll be moving forward with that team from there on out. Next slide, please. This is our current committee strategic objectives. Our mission is to provide sound financial oversight and maintain the long-term fiscal stability of the South Central Province. In accordance with the Board of Directors and Keeper of Exchequer, we will aid in the development of the end fiscal year, the province budgeted income proposal, and it is to be completed 30 days prior to the province council meeting. We have in April, but going forward, we'll adjust that date accordingly. You see our internal controls. Make sure that we document our financial transactions and they're reviewed and updated. And we will secure our financial records, our committee reports, our minutes, and agendas. We will keep that via cloud repository. We will conduct self-evaluations of the committee's performance and adherence and effectiveness with the Board of Directors and officers. And as you can see, our reporting procedures, and we will, after we do our reporting, we'll make recommendations for next year's budget. They'll be presented to the Keeper of Exchequer and then included in the written report given to the Board of Directors. Next slide, please. All right, brothers, I do want to talk about our net operating income. I want brothers to understand that this is a budget from the previous fraternal fiscal year. So you see the large number, the negative 85,133. That is cash reserves, in part from refunds from the previous province council and funds, the registration funds moved to the 2022 province council meeting. So between refund funds and the move to the 2022 council meeting, you can see that that basically from a budgeting standpoint, that blew up the budget because this budget was created, that current year, 19 and 20, that budget was created pre-COVID-19. So the expected revenue and the expected expenditures were drastically changed, to Brother Keeper Exchequer McMichael's point, due to lack of activity and the rolling of funds forward, so that even though it looks like it's low from a reporting standpoint, we have to report that as budgeted loss. But as you saw from Brother McMichael's from a cash flow standpoint, we are still cash heavy, and that we will see that bounce back up in the next year or in years where we have on-site live council meetings.
Very good, Bill.
Next slide. Brothers, you can see here, this is a breakdown of our revenues. Illustrated this way, you see the continuing raise up to 100% on the top line of the Pareto chart. And then in the bottom part of the bar chart, you'll see that a significant amount of our revenues come from MTA, and the next largest chunk comes from our conferences. So you can imagine that moving money forward to 2022 it significantly impacts the revenues, but MTA just in previous years has been the largest source of revenue for the province. Next slide. For our expenditures, you see a similar pattern, and you see that MTA is obviously down from the previous years. We did have expenditures from the conferences that, and like to my point, some of those monies were moved forward to 2022, and some of those expenditures were refunded funds as well. Next slide, please. Our recommendations, brothers. We recommend that the Budget and Finance Committee be fully staffed at the beginning of each fraternal year with adequate support from 4 alumni and 4 undergraduate brothers, consisting of 2 juniors and 2 sophomores. This will leave them with years for them to learn and for us to train for leadership. We also recommend a detailed financial overview be provided by Province Keeper Exchequer based on significant variances at 10% or more in expense line item categories, fiscal year budget versus actual results. We recommend that we earmark a portion of the balance carryover from the previous year to support province specific foundation initiatives. We also recommend that our province financial books and reports be annually audited by an outside group or agency. In summary, we as a committee feel that the financial state of the province is in very good shape, and that the province has properly navigated the current financial impact due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Brothers, I cannot express that enough, that going through the numbers and with the other committee members as well from previous years, we navigated this pandemic in a very smart and pragmatic way with the minimum loss of money and the maximum, we maintain the maximum ability to hold on to the assets that we do have. So I want to personally thank Brother Kim McMichaels for that. And I want to thank the Providence leadership team in general. Brothers, that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions for Brother Bell? Raise your hand if there are questions. We have a question from Brother Carlton. Brother Carlton, you have the floor. We will unmute you. Can you speak so we can ensure that we can hear you?
Wayne Carlton, Knoxville Alumni Chapter.
We can hear you, brother. You have the floor.
Looking at the figures, you guys, do you guys see any more losses or reimbursements due to people that were intaking an MTA in 2020 that will not be able to attend the 2022 province council due to relocation or not being in the province anymore?
So that's a great question, brother Carlton. We have that set aside. It's in the savings account. So as we approach 2022, what our plan is to ensure that each brother that that registered, we have all of those registrations still secure. We have that list. We'll also provide that to each of the chapters so that they know who is already registered. At that point, if there's a brother who still decides, you know what, I'm not going to attend, then we will refund them. But I want to make clear, all brothers who registered for the original 75th South Central Province Council in Louisville last year, those funds are set aside. We have that list. There was an initial group of brothers who requested a refund. Everyone else said, we will keep it and we'll apply it, apply my registration to the next in-person Province Council. Shortly before that in-person Province Council, if there are still brothers who decide, you know what, I think we need, I'm not going to come, or for some reason, I'm not going to be able to attend, then we will issue a refund. Does that provide clarification, Brother Carlton?
Yeah, so hopefully we can catch up with the people that have graduated and moved on too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But we definitely want to encourage them to still attend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions, brothers? All right, I will entertain a motion to receive the Budget and Finance Committee report. So moved by Brother Alexis Lewis of Memphis alumni, second by Brother Philip Clay of Frankfurt alumni. Call for the question. Any unreadiness? There being none, you will now receive a poll. to vote. Voting will commence for 30 seconds. All right, we can release the results, and the passes unanimously. Budget report is adopted. Brothers, prior to moving on, we'll prepare for Brother Terrence Tunstall. The audit committee, they will be financially reviewing all of 1920, and as a part of their recommendations, also with the budget and finance recommendation, at the conclusion of this fraternal year, we will also be using an external auditor to go ahead and audit our books for this current fraternal year. So the results of the financial review from the audit committee will be sent via a confidential bulletin to each of the chapter poll marks and keep a record so that you can release it to your chapters. In addition to that, we will be doing an outside auditor to take a look at our books for this current fraternal year. That is a part of the recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee, in addition to the Audit Committee as well. Any questions on that, brothers, before we move forward? Please raise your hand if you have any questions. Awesome. We will now prepare to have our committee chairman, Brother Terrence Tunstall, for the bylaws committee report. Brother Tunstall, can you speak so we can ensure that we can hear you?
Good morning, brothers. Can you hear me fine?
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. We're going to pull up your presentation now.
Good morning, brothers. This is committee of the South Central Province Bylaws Committee. Next slide, please. Our primary task, brothers, is to review the amendment proposals that were submitted by either chapters and/or province board of directors. We submit these to the body, the amendment proposals that we deem appropriate to be amended to our province bylaws. We update the province bylaws for language and format consistency. We also ensure that any amendments that we add to our bylaws are in compliance with the Constitution and statutes of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. As I begin this, I want to first introduce the entire bylaws committee. Region 1, Terry Esper, Newport Covington alumni. Bupa Godfrey, Alpha Omicron chapter. Region 2, Scott Lindsay, Nashville alumni chapter. Tevin Johnson, Alpha Theta chapter. Region 3, Jerome Cephas, Jackson alumni chapter. Ladarius Granberry, Zeta Kappa chapter. Region 4, Jeffrey Gooden, Clarksville alumni chapter. And Nicholas Crosta, Lambda Pi chapter. Whenever you have a task of this importance, it's always good to have a great team. And I also want to thank the past bylaws chairman, Brother Demarcus Shabazz, as he has been helpful with us as well. The committee reviewed one proposal, and that was submitted by the South Central Province Board of Directors. This committee accepted the proposal submitted by the Province Board of Directors. I will read it in full. The amendments are to Article 4, Committees and Appointments. Current literature, there is none. Proposed literature is to add sections 9, sections 10, and sections 11. Section 9, Council of Alumni Chapter Poll Marks. There should be a Council of Alumni Chapter Poll Marks of the South Central Province, composed of the Alumni Chapter Poll Marks and the Senior Province Vice Poll Mark, who shall be its chairman. The chairman shall have primary responsibility. The chairman shall have primary responsibilities for programming, coordinating, and conducting the meetings of the Council of the Alumni Chapter Poll Marks, subject to the approval of the province poll mark. Section B, the vice chairman, secretary, and chaplain shall be appointed by the chairman. C, the Council of Alumni Chapter Polemarks shall meet monthly. D, the Council of Alumni Chapter Polemarks shall not be a legislative body. However, it may recommend specific actions to the Province Board of Directors. Its principal functions shall be to discuss the techniques for governing of chapters and alumni associations, discuss programming and Province meetings, and engage in other constructive group thinking on the future of Kappa Alpha Psi. Section 10, Council of Undergraduate Chapter Polemarks. A, there shall be a Council of Undergraduate Chapter Polemarks of the South Central Province, composed of the undergraduate chapter Polemarks and the junior province vice Polemark, who shall be its chairman. The chairman shall have primary responsibility for programming, coordinating, and conducting the meetings of the Council of Undergraduate Chapter Polemarks, subject to the approval of the province Polemark. B, the vice chairman, secretary, and chaplain shall be appointed by the chairman. C, the Council of Undergraduate Chapter Polemarks shall meet monthly. D, the Council of Undergraduate Chapter Polemarks shall not be a legislative body. However, it may recommend specific actions to the Province Board of Directors. Its principal functions shall be to discuss techniques for governing of undergraduates, discuss programming in Province meetings, and engage in other constructive group thinking on the future of Kappa Alpha Psi. Section 11, Council of Past Province Polemarks. There shall be a Council of Past Province Polemarks composed of all living past province Polemarks. B, the Council of Past Province Polemarks shall hold at least one meeting during each province council and at such other times as may be requested. C, the Council of Past Province Polemarks shall advise the province and its officers on all matters of concern to it and develop for consideration of the province board, if desirable, position papers on the current policy and directions of the fraternity. D, the Council of Past Province Polemarks shall elect from among its own members a chairman and a secretary who shall serve at the pleasure of the Council of Past Province Polemarks. The rationale for all of these amendments. These amendments shall provide support for continued engagement of chapter Polemarks for leadership training, advisement, and constructive group thinking on the future of Kappa Alpha Psi. This also formalizes a structure that has been informally used over the past few years. The language is adjacent with existing grand chapter language on the councils serving at the grand chapter level. Any questions?
Brothers, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. I see Brother Howard Bailey has his hand raised. Let's recognize Brother Bailey and allow him to speak. Brother Bailey, please unmute yourself.
Yes. Good morning, Brother Polemark.
You have the floor, Brother Bailey.
Will this be submitted at the next grand chapter meeting? If so, I misunderstood.
No, this is for our province bylaws only.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know whether this was going to be submitted as a recommendation
Grand chapter.
at the grand chapter. Okay.
No, it's for our province bylaws. And to further elaborate, as the chairman had mentioned, and I'll allow him to discuss it more, this really formalizes informally what we've already been doing for over the past maybe 8 to 10 years. All of the chapter Polemarks meet on a monthly basis, but this puts a little bit more structure, objectivity, and definition around it.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? There being none, I will entertain a motion to adopt the recommendation of the Bylaws Committee. So moved by Brother Troy Robinson of Murfreesboro Alumni Chapter. Second by Brother Andre Dean of Memphis Alumni Chapter. Call for the question. Any unreadiness? There being none, you will now receive a poll to vote on the bylaws report. Voting will commence for 30 seconds. We can release the results. The report is adopted. You will receive an updated copy of the province bylaws as mandated by our bylaws, I believe within 60 to 90 days. And so it will be sent to all the brothers of our province. Thank you, Brother Tunsil. We will now have Brother Lucas come forth with the nominating committee report. Let's recognize Brother Lucas, bring him up and allow him to speak. Brother Lucas, let us know when you are able to speak so we can ensure that we can hear you.
Good evening, brothers. Or good morning, brothers. Can you hear me, Brother Pomar?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. So good morning, brothers. Before I go into my report, I would first like to thank the members of the nominating committee, brothers David Davenport, William Thomas, Eric Lattimore, Lazarus Alexander, Alexis Lewis, Brandon Moses, Patrick Johnson, and Cameron Wilson. Thank you, brothers, for your commitment to this committee so that we can move the province forward. All right, brothers, next slide. Okay, brothers, these are the policies that the nominating committee abides by when making selections to recommend who comes out of the committee going onto the ballot. The primary things that I would like for you to look at here is this year, because of the pandemic, we've lightened the restriction a little bit for the undergraduates and their excuse me, we got a typo in here, but their transcripts. We have allowed them to provide an unofficial transcript or a PDF of their transcript because no one was able to meet in person as we will typically do whenever we meet in person for Province Council. If you look at the regional breakdown, Region 1 is for all alumni and undergrad chapters within Kentucky. Region 2 is for all chapters within Tennessee, east of Clarksville, Tennessee. Region 3 is for all chapters west of Clarksville in the state of Tennessee. And then Region 4 is all chapters north of Cleveland, Mississippi, in the northern Mississippi area. Next slide. The committee received as you see this list, the committee received packets for these brothers here. We only had one disqualification, Brother DeAndre Conley for undergraduate board member of Region 2. His packet unfortunately did not meet the minimum requirements for recommendation from the committee, but all other brothers that you see listed here were qualified and received a unanimous qualification votes from the entire committee. I'll give you a second just to come through these names real quick. The next slide. And brothers, these are the recommendations that the committee is making to the body that will be placed on the ballot. If you look to the right, the vacant positions that did not have a qualifying packet submitted are the undergraduate board members, Regions 2 and 4, lieutenant strategist, reporter, and historian. These positions will not be placed on the ballot and will be have someone appointed to them by the province pollmark and the board. But all other positions on the left, as noted or stated earlier, have been recommended to the body to be placed on the ballot for voting. Next slide. Okay, brother. So at this time, we will get ready to move into nominations from the floor. If you remember earlier, a couple of slides ago, the Alumni Board Member Region 1 had 3 recommendations or 3 packets submitted for it. Brother Terry Esper, Brother Sean Pleasant, and Brother H. Hilton Isbell. Brother Terry Esper was the brother that was selected out of the committee to come to be placed on the ballot. However, brothers Pleasant and Isbell are eligible to be elected, or excuse me, nominated from the floor by someone within their region. Then after that, we will go into the Providence Nominating Committee member nominations per region. So at this time, Brother Polmark, if you don't mind, I would like to open up the floor for nominations, starting with the Alumni Board Member Region 1.
Need to pull up the Brother Clay Smalley has his hand raised. Let's recognize him, allow him to speak. Clay Smalley. Brother Smalley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Pomark. Brother Clay Smalley from Bowling Green Alumni Chapter. I'd like to nominate Brother Hilton Isbell.
Thank you, Brother Smalley. Any other nominations for Alumni Board Member Region 1? Any other nominations for Alumni Board Member Region 1? All right, Brother Polmark, I will move on to Province Nominating Committee members. We will start off with Region 1 Province Nominating Committee member. Any nominations? Any nominations for Region 1 Nominating Committee member? Region 1 Nominating Committee member. Moving on to Region 2 Nominating Committee member. Any nominations? Region 2 Nominating Committee member. Region 2 Nominating
We
Committee
have a hand from Brother Wayne Carlton.
I'd like to nominate, this is Wayne Carlton from Knox Alumni Chapter. I'd like to nominate Eric Lattimore from Knox Alumni for the Region 2 Province Nominating Committee member.
Thank you, Brother Carlton.
You're welcome.
One more call for Region 2 Nominating Committee member. Moving to Region 3 Nominating Committee member. Any nominations? Region 3 Nominating Committee member. Region 3 Nominating Committee member.
Let's see a hand raised by, I thought I saw a hand raised by Brother Tunstall. Brother Tunstall, you recognize to speak.
I'd like to nominate Brother Alexis Lewis.
Thank you, Brother Tunstall. One more call for Region 3. All right, Region 4 Nominating Committee member. Any nominations? Region 4 Nominating Committee member. Last call, Region 4 Nominating Committee member. Thank you, brothers. Brother Polmark, this time I recommend that nominations be closed.
All right, brothers. We will, we don't have to the nominating committee report is not a report that needs accepting of a report due to the factor of nomination. So thank you, Brother Lucas. Please make sure you forward the ballot to Brother Buford Smith. And speaking of Brother Smith, the chairman of the elections committee, he will come forth in regards to instructions for the elections committee. So let's recognize Brother Buford Smith. Brother Smith, when you have the floor, please speak to ensure that we are able to hear you, and we will bring your presentation up.
All right. Good morning, brothers. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, brothers, for the 75th South Central Province Council, we'll be using the election buddy for our online voting. Next slide, please. Okay, brothers, this will be a email notification voting process. As you can see on the screen there, once you receive this email, this is what you will see with your name, the date and time for this election. So at 2 p.m. is when this election should start. So at that time, I ask that you check your email. If you don't see an email, please go through troubleshooting, go ahead and refresh your screen and do what you need to do. If you don't get that email, then I will need for you to email me a correct email address, and I can verify that to make sure if there's any issues, I can go ahead and try to adjust that and then get an email sent out to you. But this is what you will see on the screen once you receive that, that notification. It will explain to you what you need to do. As you look down the list there where it shows the link, once you see that link, you click on that link and it will take you to the ballot. If you do not see, for some reason that link does not open, it gives you instructions on how you can cut and paste the link into your browser. And then from there, it gives you instruction to submit your code. And once you submit your code, that should take you into the ballot. Next slide. Now what you see here is a sample ballot, but it gives you an idea of what the ballot will look like. And since there's a number of uncontested positions, you will see the candidate on there. In order to have the voting process, there has to be a minimum of two candidates. But for this uncontested positions where it's just one candidate, you will see uncontested. So at that time, you will just make the obvious selection and move down the ballot and make your selection for all the candidates. I see there's an update, so I'll wait for that update to come through for the ballot, and I will enclose all the proper candidates for those positions. Once you get to the end, next slide, please. Once you have made all your selections, you will see this at the end. It will allow you to make any edit to the ballot. If you want to make change to your selection for any position to where there is contested position, you can go ahead and make that selection. Once you submit the ballot, you will see these, you will get an email with the instructions below, says ballot submitted. It will give you those instructions with the date and time. And then also you will get a verification code. That verification code will be used in case there's any challenges or any audits. So you receive that, and that confirms that your vote was received and added to the results. Once it's all complete, which should end at 3 p.m., that tally will be automatically presented, and I will present that at the closing according with the guidance from the province poll mark. Any questions? That will be it. Hopefully, God willing, that this will be everything will go smoothly and there's no issues. So if there are any questions, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions for Brother Smith? So to make it clear, elections will begin at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, will last for 1 hour. You will receive a secure email link that is coded specifically for you and the amount of votes that you are weighted for. And you must submit your vote within that 1 hour. Those votes cannot be forwarded. It will void the ballot. And that code can only be used once. If it's tried to be used more than once, it will void the ballot. So brothers, just make sure to look out for your emails as Brother Smith instructed. 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, we will have voting. We will now have Brother Jerome Cephas come forth for the Membership Training Academy report.
Good morning, brothers. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. At this time, I will be making my presentation.
We're going to bring your report up now.
Okay. Put them up some tables. All right. The Membership Training Academy. This is our agenda for this morning. Province MTA committee members, improvements and opportunities, updated MTA training, and upcoming intake opportunities. Next slide, please. I want to take this time now to appreciate and to thank the members that have served on my team in the most recent intake season. That will be Brother Prenell Mitchell, Brother Jamilton Woods, Brother Quincy Williams, and Brother Martin Truitt. This team has been instrumental for the South Central Province, being the team of excellence that we have been over the past few years when it comes to intake. I want to thank these hardworking brothers, because without you and without these dedicated chapters, intake would not be possible here within the South Central Province. Next slide, please. All right, concerning Membership Training Academy, I want to discuss some of the improvements and the opportunities that we currently have. In this new COVID-19 environment, we have to make some adjustments. Some of the things that we are currently doing well, we do a very great job as far as in communicating back and forth between chapters, whether you have any confusion or any questions. We're doing a fantastic job when it comes to compliance. We need to continue doing that as well, considering some of the changes and the updates with COVID-19 protocol. Attendance and event checking in for the different MTA events. We've done a fantastic job when it comes to recording that. Accessing Kappa.org. It's been around for quite a while now, and I believe that brothers are becoming more and more familiar and comfortable with the items that are located within Kappa.org. And again, St. Jude Sunday of Hope. Want to give a shout out to all the brothers of the South Central Province that have held St. Jude Sunday of Hope events and has made it the successful program that it is. Some things that we definitely need to continue to improve upon, and I did say continue to improve upon, in the event that we participate in upcoming intake opportunities. Meeting deadlines is going to be critical. Attention to detail, especially when it comes to any COVID requirements or restrictions. Advanced preparation is going to be key. We want to definitely make sure that we are taking the time out to prepare to be successful, regardless as to what activities that we are what activities are taking place. Exam prep and scores. Let me speak a little bit more about this. In the event that we do have an intake season, it's going to be a little bit different. There may be a little bit more virtual opportunities that's incorporated within it, within that process. So it's going to be crucial that we provide the candidates with the essential information that they'll need to be successful on the exam. And we need to make sure that we're doing more follow-up with them to ensure that they're properly absorbing the material, understanding the material, and are properly prepared for the exam. Also, finally, we have new MTA training that will be required of all brothers. I'll speak on that more here in a moment. Next slide, please. All right, new membership training academy training. This is going to be all new MTA training information will be discussed within this training. Again, we are no longer referring to it as certification. All the slides, all the information will be updated, and it will indicate that it is training. It is membership intake training. So let's make sure that we're aware of that, and we're getting that word certification out of our vernacular. It's going to be a new self-paced online platform that's going to facilitate the training of all brothers. Again, this, I understand if you had a previous certification that was good for 2 years, you would be required to undertake this new training because there is new information. And again, it is going to be on a new self-paced online platform where all of the scores will be recorded and centralized at international headquarters. International headquarters will make these scores and these results available to the province. And from my discussions with Brother Clemens, he's going to make sure that the chapters have access to this information, just so that we're well equipped and understand which brothers are properly trained to assist in the membership intake process. All right. It will be available sometime after the grand chapter meeting. I'll just go ahead and tell you this now, that they're still testing the platform as we speak. And upon successful implementation of this platform, it will be rolled out. So stay tuned. I'll provide you with updated information as it does become readily available. Next slide. All right, upcoming intake opportunities. As we've spoken, as our grand Polemark has spoken, he is anticipating potential fall intake. Let me repeat now, there'll be no summer intake currently for the 2021 season. There's no scheduled summer intake, but the potential for fall intake is on the table. If you are interested, if there are any chapters out there that are interested, undergrad as well as alumni chapters, please have your Polemark, your MTA chairman, or your chapter advisor submit an email to me, just expressing interest. I would hope that you would have these conversations at your next chapter meetings over the next couple of months. I would hope to have at least you expressing interest in potentially participating in fall intake no later than the end of the grand chapter meeting. If you could do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All it takes is just one email. Again, more information will be provided over the next coming months. And if there are any new updates, I'll definitely make sure that everyone is abreast on that situation. Next slide. Any questions, comments, concerns for me at this time? There being none, I turn, that's my report, Province Polemark Clemens. I turn the meeting back over to you.
Thank you, Brother Cephas. There are no action items in that report, am I correct? Okay. More information, there's no vote that needs to be taken. Please be mindful of the information that Brother Cephas has provided. There is a question. Brother Wayne Carter, you have the floor.
You can barely hear you right now.
I can hear you.
Yeah, but I can barely hear you.
What about now?
That's better. Thank you.
That's my fault. Was that your question?
That's my question.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brother Davenport, I saw your hand raised as well. Maybe the same thing. Okay. All right, brothers. That's informational. So there's no action items needed for that report. But I do want to highlight some of the items that Brother Cephas stated in regards to the membership training. It will be online, and so just be ready for that. And all brothers will need to participate to get MTA trained. Secondly, if we proceed with fall intake, please reach out to your regional board members and or Brother Cephas and let him know if your chapter would participate in fall 21 intake if intake takes place. Begin to have those conversations now. Let's not wait to the last minute. So over the next couple of months, brothers, if somehow you can find this way on your chapter meeting agendas to discuss whether your chapter will move forward with intake in fall 21 if intake is opened up per grand chapter. So that's all we have for that report. Thank you, Brother Cephas, for your yeoman's work as our director for the Membership Training Academy. We will now have Brother Andre Douglas come forth. He's physically here as a province meeting planner. So we will now have him come forth to give the time and place committee report.
Thank you, Brother Clemens, and good morning, brothers. First, I'd like to thank Brother Province Polmark for allowing the greatest meeting planning team to operate. And what actually makes our team dynamic is actually my assistant meeting planner, Mr. Tony Smith. He's one of the hardest working assistant meeting planners that exists, but I thank you, Brother Smith, for serving. Now, my presentation. Our fall MTA, if we have MTA, and our C. Roger Wilson Leadership Conference will be as follows. For 2021, UT Knoxville, November 4th through the 6th, 2021. Future C. Roger Wilson Leadership Conference, 2022 is projected for Murray State University, 2023 to be determined, 2024 Western Kentucky University, and 2025 University of Memphis. Next slide, please. Province councils. 2022, our 76th Province Council will be held March 24th through the 27th, 2022 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The host hotel is the Westin Chattanooga. And for you all that actually live in Chattanooga, has been there, the Westin Hotel is probably one of the finest, nicest hotel that exists in Chattanooga. So I'm looking forward to our 76th Province Council. Future Province Council, 77th Province Council, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We have our 78th Province Council, which is scheduled for back here in Louisville, Kentucky. Our 79th Province Council, 2025, Brentwood, Tennessee. Our 80th Province Council, 2026, Knoxville, Tennessee. And our 81st Province Council, 2027, Tunica, Mississippi. So, brother, that is my report. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Brother Bailey? Unmute yourself, Brother Bailey.
Yes, sorry about that. Could you pull that back up so I can write it down and get it?
Which one, Brother Bailey?
The first one. No, not the province. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and don't forget, Brother Bailey, 2023 is to be determined.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And that is my report. Thank you.
Are there any additional reports any additional questions, I'm sorry, for Brother Douglas? Okay, great. So brothers, just please note as we're preparing for the Achievement Committee report from Brother Rodney Broom, what we'll do, I want you to be mindful. Can you put that screen back up? I want you to be mindful that for next year, if spring we're coming out of this pandemic. So next year for spring intake, the plan tentatively will be to have spring 22 intake with Province Council. So just make sure that you mark that on your calendar, March 24th through the 27th, 2022. I had the opportunity to stop by and visit that Westin in Chattanooga. It's not only what I think the nicest hotel in Chattanooga, it's one of the nicest hotels throughout our province. It's a very, very nice establishment. And I know that Chattanooga alumni will be ready for us. I think they're about 90% complete with renovations of their chapter house on MLK Drive, and so we will be excited to visit Chattanooga. We're also excited to come visit the Big Orange, the best university in the state of Tennessee. I have no bias. University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and come there for C. Roger Wilson, November 4th through the 6th. If we have fall intake, it will be November 4th through the 6th. That's a Thursday through Saturday. If we don't have fall intake, but I plan that we will. But if we don't for some reason, then the C. Roger Wilson will take place November 5th, just that Friday and that Saturday. So we look forward to going to Chattanooga, and we look forward to going to visit everybody in the Big Orange at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, the flagship institution in the state of Tennessee. I just want to reiterate that one more time. I'm drinking the tea for everybody that does not know. We will now bring up Brother Rodney Broom for the Achievement Committee report. Brother Broom, could you speak to ensure that we can hear you?
Good morning, brothers. Can you hear me?
Yes, and we will now bring up your report now.
All right, brothers, good morning. And without further ado, we'll get right into it. The Achievement Committee is charged with reviewing and submitted petitions for the following province awards. As you see them all listed there. All awards were required to be submitted electronically to the SCP achievement@gmail.com by March the 1st. Next slide. All right, so we'll get right into it with the website awards. These are the following chapters submitted for Website of the Year, undergraduate and alumni. South Haven, Memphis, the New Road chapter, Vanderbilt University, Murfreesboro, Clarksdale, and Louisville alumni. These are all the undergraduate awards that are contested. The following brothers submitted for a petition for Kappa Scholar, undergraduate brother of the year, as well as undergraduate chapter of the year. So for Kappa Scholar, we have Tevin Johnson, Lazarus Alexander, Zach Dampier, Jaden Hicks. Undergraduate brother of the year, Jaden Hicks and Jeremiah Elston. And for undergraduate chapter of the year, New Row, Alpha Theta, Alpha Omicron, and Lambda Pi. Next slide. In terms of the Lewis N. Willis Merit of Achievement Award, there were multiple submissions for this award, and after significant review and dialogue from the committee, they did recommend a candidate to the Province Board of Directors. That is Willie F. Brooks Jr. from Memphis alumni. So the candidate has been sent to the Province Board of Directors for approval and to be placed on the ballot for conferral by at least 75% of the province delegates at the upcoming Province Council. If this brother is successful, the awarding will be at the succeeding Province Council. So in Chattanooga, if Brother Brooks is successful this afternoon, he will be awarded with the Lewis N. Willis Merit of Achievement Award in Chattanooga. Next slide. These are alumni awards up for contested. The following brothers submitted for Alumni Brother of the Year: Brother Sean Pleasant from Louisville alumni, Norman Miller from Memphis alumni, William Kennard III, Clarksdale, and Eric Stevenson from South Haven. Down below, the following chapters submitted for Alumni Chapter of the Year: we have Murfreesboro, Louisville, Clarksdale, and Memphis. I must also state that the Chapters of the Year awards for both undergrad and alumni, as well as the website awards, are broken down into small, medium, and large categories. So there's an opportunity there for different size chapters to get Chapter of the Year awards and other distinctions. Next slide. That is my report, brothers. Are there any questions at this time?
Do we have any questions for Brother Broom? As notated, the committee recommended for our past Providence Polemark 22nd past Providence Polemark and Elder Watson Diggs awardee, Brother Willie F. Brooks Jr. to be placed on the ballot for Lewis N. Willis Merit of Achievement Award. So his name will be on the ballot this afternoon, 75% conferral. Brothers, that concludes all of our presentations. I do have a couple of announcements that I would like to make everyone aware of. One, tonight is our public meeting that will begin at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The schedule that non-voting delegates and voting delegates receive, you all can use that same link. Just click on public meeting and it will take you straight to the public meeting. Tomorrow, our business session begins at 9:30 a.m. In the second business session, under new business, I will open the floor up actually doing it for good at Kappa. I will open the floor up for grand chapter candidates for office to introduce themselves, and well, many of them is not introductions, but to speak to the brothers of the South Central Province. So during the second business session, during the latter part of it, during the For Good of Kappa, we will have our grand chapter candidates for office visit our province to speak with the brothers. In addition to that, later on today, remember from 1 o'clock to 2:15, and then also from 3 o'clock to 4:15, there are Kappa development workshops. Please click on the links that were provided today in today's email for the Friday schedule. Please use those links to access those workshops. There are an array of workshops that we're really excited about that will be presented on today for brothers to gain some personal and professional development. Session 1, responsible gun ownership. Session 2, creating a will and final testament. That is so important. And then session 3, crafting your credit score. From 3 o'clock to 4:15, we have 3 additional concurrent sessions. Session 1, next level, pursuing a master's or doctorate degree. Session 2, negotiating a job offer. And session 3, don't get fired, how to navigate the workplace. And then on tomorrow, be mindful that we also have our student achievement luncheon that is at 1 o'clock p.m. and also the closed program at 4 o'clock p.m. All of those are Eastern Standard Time. Voting again will commence today at 2 o'clock p.m. Please look out for your emails. If you have any questions, reach out to Brother Buford Smith by way of the email that he provided. That is all of the announcements that we have for today, brothers. And with that being said, we are now in recess until the second business session.